Several months back, the leadership at Element contacted Sue and I about the possibility of taking a short-term team to Arizona with the thought of blessing Brian and Bailey Pruitt as they're doing their ministry in Arizona. Brian is the international pilot trainer for Ethnos 360 Aviation, training pilots to use helicopters to reach people in almost unreachable places. And he's training pilots. He's just getting back tomorrow from New Guinea, and then next week goes to Philippines to continue his training to the pilots who are in the jungle, training them with some of those more difficult things like that. So that's what Brian and Bailey are doing, is they're involved in aviation that way. Sue and I discovered some needs that they had while we were visiting them, and discovered that they are, part of their training is having the students over and doing social events. It helps them to get to know the students, just even in their evaluation process and all of that. And they're just in a little kind of a manufactured home, and they needed a deck on the back of their house. So that was the main project that we did. We also did some plumbing, because their plumbing system was pretty messed up, and Eric headed that part of it up. We also did some landscaping. Judy did a good bit of landscaping, and some of the slides would probably reflect a little bit of that. But our goal was to bless them and to try to take on as much of the expense as possible. Element was extremely generous, and we were able to cover pretty much everything that we intended to do, and that was pretty good. Along the way, we had several different projects and tasks that each of us needed to do, and there were also some impactful things. We learned a lot about their ministry as we went there. So, Judy, we had a conversation at the front of the house, and we were talking about some of the things that Brian does when he goes into some of the villages, and some of the impact that his ministry has had. What new thing did you learn about modern missions and this particular mission as you went that kind of struck you as a work of God?
You know, it's funny, when Dave and I were heading down there, I think we were in the mindset of working, doing our tasks that we were all assigned. And so once we got there, though, I was working in the office, and so I was having people come in, taking a peek in the office, and then I got to have some conversations with them.
What were you doing in the office? I didn't say that in the overview.
I got the privilege of doing what I love to do, and that's making a space an enjoyable place to be. And so I was very excited for what I got to do. What I used for some of the items to beautify his office with was pictures of places that he has been, and I didn't know the backstories to these pictures when I blew them up onto canvas and placed them in his office. And he came in with them on the wall, and he started sharing.
Brian started telling you the stories.
Brian started telling me the stories of places that he was able to go into. One wall of his was a whole story. 5 big canvases were one story that he was sharing with me, and I thought they were just all individual pictures. And then another wall in his office were different villages that he had gone into. hearing Brian's overview of it, and then having other people come into the office and sharing either their connections with Brian or their connections with ministries that they or missions that they had been on in different parts. It seemed like everybody was connected to mission, whether it was them growing up in the mission field or them then going back as adults.
Yeah, I remember Brian talking about part of his training, and one of the things that they do is they fly the pilots to kind of a remote landing spot in Arizona, and it takes about 5-10 minutes to get there, and then they have to hike back, and it takes them 8 hours, and it's a 5-minute trip, and it just gives them an idea of how much time is being saved by being able to use the helicopter. And in these tribal areas, there are new believers in several of the areas because missionaries went in, lived with the people, built a little hut in there for years, and then eventually, many years later, a church is developed, and those people want to reach their other tribal people who are in another valley, but it's an extremely difficult hike over the mountains, and it can take 1 or 2 days. And so the helicopter can go in, and in 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes from village to village, they can bring these people in, they can do their ministry, they can bring them back out the next day or whenever, and the people can continue to do their farming and all that. It would not be possible for the tribal people to have an effective evangelistic program without the helicopter. And years ago, the mission wouldn't even think about doing helicopters because they were just so expensive and so complicated. While Brian was flying regular aircraft, fixed wing, they call it aircraft in the Philippines, he realized that if we could use helicopters for this, we could really reach these people so much more efficiently. I know with Sue and I, when we lived in the jungle, I think we could have saved 2 years of our time because I had to build 3 mountain airstrips cut out of the jungle over the years that we were there, and then coming back after our home assignment, had to redo them again, and it would have just been wonderful to have it. But it was unreachable, it was so expensive. And so Brian started figuring out a whole different way of financing the program through donors who wanted to subsidize flights so that he could get the flight price down to where people could actually afford it, to where, a tribal person might be able to have a helicopter flight for a sack of rice or a couple chickens or something like that because of the program. And Brian brought the ideas back here, and at first there was a bit of pushback because we never did that before, but over time he just showed the feasibility, and they ended up getting a helicopter in the Philippines, and now Ethnos 360 is the largest customer of Robinson Aircraft because the Lord continues to provide helicopters to reach these people, and it just makes me think that the Lord wants to get this job done. Yeah. And like Judy said, everybody is a part of that mission. No matter what they're doing on that base, it can be just finances, a mundane thing, or like our job foreman, Danny Mixter, everybody that is there is doing what they do so that that helicopter can take the missionary and the tribal person to places that otherwise would be unreachable. And they didn't you see that? They keep their vision very clear as they go. And I know that's not always easy to do.
I want to say she transformed that office into amazing, and I just thought it was gorgeous. They did the new tables, office
yeah, the desk
tables
and everything. Yeah,
everything.
Weren't people coming by? Even
yeah.
it was like it became a tourist place, and they're looking at the photos and that kind of stuff. Yeah,
It's gorgeous.
that was
Gorgeous.
excellent.
Well, I just love that wall, how it tells that story. And how that was, it showed the fixed wing and the helicopters.
Yeah, they're still using both now. So, Eric, you had a little, you and I,
Yes.
and Diane
We spent a few days.
had
doing
several
plumbing.
days doing plumbing.
Yeah.
And so, what was the issue there, and what did we have to do there?
One thing is that their water pressure was low. They had galvanized pipe, and we replaced that with plastic pipe, a little bit bigger size than 3/4, 1 inch. And then we put a whole house filter on and a descaler. And then we flushed out the tankless water heater, which made a big difference. So now, instead of one person taking a shower, they, two showers
Yeah.
could go in
At
two
the same
different
time.
bathrooms
Yeah.
at the same
Yeah.
time. And then we worked on the RO.
We put an RO unit in.
Yeah, that made it really good. And then they asked me if I had time to do 2 other houses, replace their water heaters. And so I had time to do that.
Eric had no lack of things to do.
Oh, yeah, I was kept busy.
Yeah, he kept busy. And then when he wasn't doing stuff like that,
And then I
he
came
was on
over
the
and
deck.
I was on the deck.
And Rudy, your part on this, what occupied your time the most?
Going and then going with guys who have serious skills like David and Eric and then Danny. You kind of have to show up, and even though you kind of know what to do, you need direction because you can't have too many people guiding everything. So I just kind of hung out, and then whenever things needed to be done, I just kind of stepped in and helped out as best I could. Mostly just building the deck, which is an awesome structure. I mean, your office is beautiful, but if
But the deck is
if a tornado ever comes through that place, the trailer will be gone and that deck will be there because it's
Under the deck.
it's industrial strength. It really is. So, but just to participate with everybody and to get to know certainly the story of what Ethnos 360 is all about and the huge contrast with the technology and what we have available to us in a gospel-centric community like that. And then to watch as they train these pilots to not only be on mission and spread the gospel, but to fly the helicopter, to repair the helicopter, because once the helicopter's over there, there isn't a repair place. They train these guys to do everything. It's amazing. But, the trailing facility, the Ethnos 360, is just incredible. I mean, you could eat off the floor
Of the hangar.
how spotlessly clean.
Yeah.
And then you look at the contrast between what is happening there to what is being delivered at the other end.
Yeah.
And that is just mind-blowing, because here you could eat off the floor here,
Yeah.
and then you're delivering the gospel to people who are maybe living on a dirt floor. It's incredible. And just the devout nature of the people we've met, in their mission and how strong they feel. It's pretty amazing. And the helicopter ride, that was pretty cool.
That was fun.
Yeah. So, it was a really great experience for me to participate in it. So, enjoyed it very, very much. So, it's good to be retired to be able to do that, or semi-retired. Yeah.
What I really loved about everybody who went down was that everybody had a gift. And I think we overlook our gifts in how we can add to what God is already doing. And so when the 10 of us came together, everybody stepped into what they have been gifted with. And then when we got together for every meal. I mean, Judy Reese was there cooking for everybody every day. And for us to then gather around the table, I think that was even special.
Yeah, I really appreciated everybody's flexibility because sometimes you didn't know what you were going to be doing that day, and sometimes we kind of waited for instruction of what nobody in our group knew the whole plan, but we all were willing to just step in and do, if they give us instructions, you know, putting up all of the rails or putting down the floor. We had a, you know, once we got the plan, everybody just jumped in, and that was that was really cool. But yeah, Judy, what you say about using your talents, you often don't think that the way God has created you is for the purpose of reaching the world. And a lot of times we don't really consider our gifts as being very spiritual. But if you look at that place, there is nobody on the site who is designated as the pastor or the teacher or whatever. Everybody pitches in and uses their gifts for whatever. One guy, Jeff Shea, is the finance guy. He deals with books all the times, but it has to be done accurately. The guys who are doing the mechanical work and fabrication and shipping, everybody, they have a gift, and it's forwarding the gospel. And that was just a good reminder that, you know, the things that we do can really matter if we just pay a little bit of attention to where we place, you know, where we exert our efforts or whatever like that. So that was good. Yeah. Did you learn about Brian and Bailey's family? Yeah. You know, we got to know them a little bit. What, for the people who maybe haven't met them, what are they like?
Having an opportunity to chat with Brian a little bit and what they do as a family and the commitment they make to give up a rather normal lifestyle to live out in the middle of nowhere and to homeschool their kids and to try and create as normal a lifestyle for them and keep them active. And certainly they're homeschooled, obviously, and but they keep them active in bicycle racing, and every weekend they're gone. And so there's a big effort from a family standpoint to really do things because there's hardly any other kids there. So it's a huge commitment on their part to do what they do, to live out there, and it's amazing to me.
I really enjoyed speaking with Bailey. I got to hear stories of when she was in the Philippines, when their family was in the Philippines, and I really got to hear her heart for that. And to talking with each one of their kids are so, you are so lucky to have those kids too. And you know, I talked about generations of the people that I came across for missions. I mean, here's Macy. She's what, 15, 16 years old? And right now she says she's excited to finish high school, go to college, go to Bible college, and go into the mission.
I was the first generation in my clan to become a believer. And so to see that heritage happening with Brian, from the time he was 2 years old, we were in this little Super Cub taken off on one of our strips, which was about a 15% downgrade. It's almost like going off a ski jump, and he would be there and he would just be going, whee! He just loved flying, even as a little kid. So he really got the vision for what he could do, even way back then. And then the pilots were so good to him. Perry Johnson would put his helmet on Brian and put him in the cockpit, and So there's a little bit of programming going on, maybe. I'm not sure. Not really. But Brian really did have that that vision all the way through, and now to see it in Macy is really exciting. Yeah.
I just noticed Bailey and Brian, they try to keep close to the family and keep them active and busy, even because it's a long trip,
Everywhere, yes.
Mainly an hour to get to any place. But I like that they're all involved in mountain biking. It helps keep them really close together and something that can have a unity, that they can talk about and encourage each other and everything. And they love talking about it. And they love cooking. Seems like they all like cooking.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Baking.
They like
Macy.
baking.
Cookies.
Even all of them do.
Yeah.
I mean, really. They bring us cookies every day and make fresh baked cookies. So that was fun. Nice.
Yeah, and pitching in too.
Yes.
I remember
If
I was
you
having
needed something.
coal on the chop saw and all that, and they
wanted to
they
help.
want to be a part. Yeah,
A part of it. That was awesome.
very refreshing in today's world.
Yeah. They're good kids, really good kids.
Well, I didn't want to say, but what other while we were there, were there any other needs that you saw, or things that we might do in the future on the base to help enhance their ministry, forward the work, or anything like that? Did you see anything?
Weed abatement.
Yeah, that's true. Landscaping.
Yeah.
Judy Reese kind of took that under her thing. Besides doing the cooking, she saw the need for stuff, and then you guys just sort of researched what plants could grow there, and that was really good. And when Bailey came back and saw the hanging plants hanging off of the deck, she cried. A good cry. She's
Her
just
kids said that they would. She would.
yeah, and they were right.
They know we're real good.
Yeah.
Morning, Element. We're the Pruitts, and we're just here in McNeil, and we wanted to send a quick video to just say hi and to show you around a little bit, and just mostly we wanted to say thank you for the team that you sent out here, and we wanted to show you all that they did because it's really amazing and we are really thankful. So sorry for the awkward video. I didn't know how else to do this quickly, and Brian's not here, so he can't hold the camera for us, so you just get a giant close-up of our faces. And yeah, so thankfully we don't get to be there to see how awkward we all are. But anyway, I'm Bailey Pruitt, this is Cole and Dylan and Macy, and we are just the beneficiaries of a really amazing gift that you gave us. So we wanted to say thank you.
Thank you for the yard and the projector and the TV and the deck. They're all great.
Thank you for the deck. We like to play football, like throw the football off of it with our friends here, and it's really fun.
We've already watched the Lego Batman on the projector and invited the whole campus, and that was really fun.
Yeah, we actually have lots of requests to do it again. There weren't very many people who were able to show up for movie night when your team was all here, and so we've had several people ask when we're going to do it. So that will become a regular thing, I hope, and we're really excited. So thank you so much for that, and for just all the work that you guys put into it, and time and money and all the things. So yeah, we'll show you around now. I just wanted to show you our house where we live. So I'll just show you. This is our campus. This is the main road, and down at the end of it is our gate entrance to our whole campus. And so all these houses are student housing or staff housing. And then when we go to the back, you'll be able to see a little bit better just kind of the neighborhood we live in. But this is our house, and I wanted to show you this because I know it doesn't look like much, but if you saw what it looked like before, year before the team that you guys sent, you would be amazed. It is so much better. They spent so much time out here weeding in all these rocks, and I don't know if any of you know Arizona dirt, but it is hard and just, it's horrible to work with. So the hours that they spent out here just weeding and making it look so much better is amazing. I was telling Judy that this little section here of dirt, Cole and I spent about 3 hours one day doing that, and we gave up because it was just so much work and really hard to pull weeds. And so they did all of this over here. And I wasn't here for a lot of it, so I don't know who was out here. I know that Judy spent a bit of time out here, and there might have been others too. But so they moved all these rocks and made kind of like a planter garden, and yeah, it just looks so nice. And then over here, they bought this tree at the end. You can see the pot with the tree in it, and so we're waiting for that to just grow a little bit, and we can plant it so that we can have some shade. It's gets so hot out here, so some shade for our house would be really nice. Okay, so I've just walked around the side of our house to the back, and just wanted to show you what this looks like, because this is where I feel like a lot of our ministry here happens. We love people, and our role here is to just disciple the new families that are coming, the trainees, and preparing them to go overseas. And so we have people over all the time, and so mostly they have little kids, and so we have the trampoline here, and we have this little ninja course in our yard, and so we just have people all the time. And so that's why this deck, sorry if that was too fast, this deck is just amazing. Look how beautiful that is. So before it was just steps. I think I sent Justine a picture of our deck before. I mean, it wasn't really a deck, it was just kind of stairs coming out of the back door. Really not useful, especially little kids. You can just fall right off. So we couldn't put a table up there or hang out or anything. So here's a tour of the deck that is just so beautiful, and Judy and her touch of the flowers was amazing. I love flowers, so I was so excited about that. So we can't actually go on the deck because they just stained it yesterday. That's why it's blocked off. But so yeah, we can't go on there. But this is our deck. So our back door is there, and we haven't been able to put a table up there yet or any chairs because it's still drying. But we're really excited about that. And yeah, I just love it so much. I feel very humbled and kind of guilty that we have such a beautiful thing in our yard. I feel very undeserving but grateful. So that's our house, and then you can kind of see all these houses around. We probably have about 20 or so houses, and again, yeah, it's all student housing and staff housing. So just to say again, thank you so much. It was a huge gift to us, not just the deck and the weeding and the projector and the screen and everything, but even just the time that that the ladies spent with me, and all of them sitting and talking and playing games and listening to us, but also sharing with us. A lot of times that's just what we need, is someone to just hang out with and to listen. And so we're really thankful for the time that they spent with us and talking to our kids and just caring about us and what's going on here. We really feel like while a deck is and a movie screen and all that, they're fun things, but they also are going to be huge to our ministry, in just allowing us to be more functional as a host when people come over, because it does happen a lot and we love it, but loved that now we have a place for them to come and enjoy. So thank you guys so much. We are blessed and so grateful. So thank you all. Sounds like we'll probably be out there at Christmas time, so we'll look forward to seeing you all then. Bye.
What would you say to somebody who may think about the next trip, whatever the project is?
I think they should go. They should, no matter, just go, because even though you don't know that what you might do, oh, God will use you. God will use you. There's something.
Yeah, even if it wasn't something directly for Brian and Bailey, for their ministry, we saw so many things. Like Eric, almost every staff person at McNeil at the base is overworked, like they're in over their head with stuff to do, and so they welcome any kind of help. While we were there, Sue was also working with the leadership to try to lead them through the process with the FAA so that they can become a repair station, which will enhance their ability to train the pilots even more thoroughly with fixing the aircraft and all that. And it'll also give them about a 30% break on parts and all that, but it's been already a 2-year process and it's still not over. She's been doing that. So while we were there, Sue was going into the office and meeting with the leadership there because she's taken them through that process. But there you have somebody like Sue who has been in regulatory affairs. She was a quality control kind of person working with the FDA. She'd never worked with the FAA, but she's using her gifts, adapting her gifts to forward the gospel. And that's great. Pretty cool. So probably anybody that wanted to go would find something like that. We have some projects that are possibilities in mind. The next one might be to renovate the shed that is leaking all over the bikes and tools and stuff. We may end up doing that. We may do more thorough landscaping, pulling out a lot of the stuff and planting grass, which is actually the best weed abatement. What Brian says is that's the best way to control weeds, is to have a good lawn.
One really cool thing about the base as well is it seems like, from the outside coming in, it seems like it's one big family. And so one night even, all the women from the base, there was probably 35 people that showed up. And I guess they meet every one night of the month. They all get together. And so there was this one woman who had been fighting cancer and was not able to make the last one. So she said, "Can we have it at our house, at my house?" So here 35 women piled into this one woman's house. And her biggest thing was she wanted to meet the new families that had come on base. And it gave her the opportunity to meet these 4 ladies and to see how they gathered together and encouraged one another was neat.
Yeah, another thing that a lot of people don't realize is that all of the leaders on that base, every minister on that base is self-supported. Nobody on that base is on a salary. Everyone is responsible, just like most missionaries, to raise their own support. People in churches are supporting them so that they can do what they do, which supports the tribal missionary, which supports the tribal person, But yeah, everybody, Brian and Bailey, are responsible for their own support. It's almost like a voluntary organization in a way, because of that. Everybody is responsible just to trust the Lord for their support. So, and that doesn't come through. They're not like, letting you know that, because they really are literally trusting the Lord for each of their, every month, for their support to come in.
That's a love and a sacrifice.
Yeah, well, it's I think they just have that that sense of mission.
Yeah.
You know, if God's called me to do this, I'm going to trust Him to support it and provide along the way. I think that in a way, it sounds like it's really tough, but it also keeps you dependent. You know how easy it is here that whatever your regular paycheck or support is, you don't really think a lot of times from month to month, oh Lord, please provide for this month, because you just kind of know it's coming in. But that puts you in a kind of more of a dependent mode when you really know that it's up to the Lord to supply. I think that the trip that we went on was really amazing and good for Brian and Bailey's ministry. It was good for Ethnos 360. And it was really good for the team. We all have individual stories of how God impacted our lives through the trip. And I would encourage anybody at Element to just approach any of the team members and ask them what they learned. A lot of us are more comfortable in conversation than we are in front of a camera. So I think that would be very, very good. And but be careful, because it may spark your interest and capture your heart, and you may want to come with us on the next trip.
All right.